Free State Project is, and but we're also involved in the larger libertarian movement. Okay, this isn't something. Okay, you're part of this, you're not involved, and so I kind of want to transition now to one of our participants who many of you hopefully know. And so I kind of want to transition now to one of our participants who many of you hopefully know, Richard Heller from the now famous Heller versus DC Second Amendment case. And he is a participant of the Free State Project, just like many people. And he wanted to share his thoughts about the Free State Project. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Rich.
Well, I'll tell you why when I heard about the Free State Project, I just wanted to go, well, before I give you the punchline, how many people have had good paying jobs while you're in school or before you started school? Nobody? Oh, one? Oh, okay. I mean, where you could make a car payment and pay the rent. And well, the one thing that you'll notice when you get your well-paying job after you get out of school here, and you will get good paychecks, is that the government will take about 25% off the top for one tax, and then 8% for another tax, and then 6% for the state tax, and then, oh, by the way, you've got a Medicare tax to pay. So you're not left with a significant part of your paycheck, or there's a big shark bite taken out of your paycheck. I just wanted to move to New Hampshire one of these days, here's the punchline, because I simply wanted to keep my paycheck. I thought I earned it, I work hard for it, it's mine. It's not an authoritarian government's paycheck. When I started becoming politically active, one of the breakthroughs that I had was, and my hero is Thomas Jefferson. I hope you all studied Jefferson and Madison, and he becomes your role model for political thinking. He says it's the nature of government or tyranny to always push, and it is the nature of freedom to yield. And all you have to do is look at your paycheck. If they're taking more, then that's tyranny. And if you're getting less without an ambitious and aggressive response, that's apathy. That's yielding. And that's a philosophical challenge that I'm 65, 66 something years old, and I've seen freedom. You all will not see freedom unless you make it happen again. All right? There was a time when there was hardly no taxes anywhere. So that's a lesson that you'll have to respond. That's a lesson I hope you'll learn and you'll respond to when you're out in the working world. What happens is, how did it happen? It happened on my watch. We become inured to, oh, for the children. And we say, oh, that's a good thing. For motherhood, more benefits. Oh, that's a good thing. And we didn't notice that it was dripping out of our paycheck. And when I heard that there's no state income tax, I couldn't believe it. I said, no, Florida and Alaska, because of oil, has no state tax, and Texas, because of oil, has no state tax. There couldn't be no state tax in New Hampshire. I was happy to be proved wrong. So 9/11 happened, and that's about the time that I learned about the Free State Project. And in 9/11, 2001, and the Patriot Act was passed then, and I was awake at the time. That's when I woke up at the switch, and I said, this is wrong, and I watched the process, and it was 3,000 pages, and nobody read it, and it passed on committee recommendation. And then what happened, funny things started happening. The IRS started becoming the political tool of the central government. And there was talk about a national ID card. Oh, that didn't fly. Oh, well, we want a standard driver's license throughout the country. Oh, well, fortunately, because states like Maine and New Hampshire and a couple of other states said that's not going to fly here. One more for New Hampshire. Then I noticed if you wanted to get on a Greyhound bus, you had to have an ID card. And I'm thinking, well, how would you hijack a bus? You couldn't accomplish very much. Then I noticed when you buy your ticket at Amtrak, which after you buy it, you could give it to a terrorist if you wanted to, what's the point? Then you start going into DC government buildings and they want you to show them a piece of plastic. They don't look at it. You just go. It could be a picture of my driver's license with my dog on it and they would never know because they don't look at it. They just see, oh, piece of plastic, okay, go through. What's the point? It's government tyranny pushing and liberty yielding. Well, that's one of the issues now that we've won our case that I'm working on to address. Government just pushing because they can. It's to show who's in charge of the ship. Okay, it's not the citizens anymore. And then you start seeing New York saying, oh, gee, we're going to start regulating food. No trans fats in the food. And by the way, we'll send you to jail if you serve them. Well, all of a sudden, something that was good is now a crime. What's wrong with this picture? Other states are starting to say no smoking anywhere. Now, I'm not a smoker. I used to be a chimney, and I don't promote smoking, but it's not government's job to control me like that, control any smoker like that. And when the Constitution was formed, what I would find fascinating as a study to see what the thickness of all the legislation of the state of New Hampshire is compared to like Maryland or New Jersey or Massachusetts. But when the Constitution was written, there were only 4 federal crimes. There were only 4 felonies. And they were, and see if I can remember them. One of them was counterfeiting. That makes sense. Piracy, treason, and then there's a 4th one I can't remember. But we took 2 years. There's an organization called the Heritage Foundation. Took 2 years to take the federal government to task and say, we challenge you to tell us how many federal laws there are, how many federal crimes there are. To give you the short version, nobody knew for 2 years, and it took them 2 years to come up with a count of this year's 4,583 laws. Okay? Some cities have criminalized your parking ticket. If you don't pay your taxes, see if they don't come after you with a gun. Okay? That's a criminal event. That's not what freedom is all about. And I'll show you what's happening. How much more time would you like? Okay. Here's what's going on in our country. This philosopher wrote this during Roman times, and it says people go from slavery. When people start out in slavery, that's stage 1 of existence. And then most slavery environments, there's a rebellion, then freedom, then comes a state of greatness in that state, and then apathy, which is where we are now, except we've passed that now. We're into a level of central government, an authoritarian central government controlling our lives, and then show me your papers, comrade. That's where we're very close to right now. And it's only the publicity that we get from people like the Free State Project promoting New Hampshire, and just sprinklings of freedom, people that comprehend the idea of freedom and love freedom, sprinkle around the country that are a few good men while everyone else is sleeping. And so I find that I was one of the very first people to sign up to go to the first, what they call Pork Fest, or Porcupine Festival. Porcupine is the state animal, right? Mascot. Okay, that's where we get the word Pork Fest. I mean, you don't know what it is until it's explained to you. And so I went to the very first one up there, and it was an exciting event where people were riding their motorcycles with no helmets. They didn't have seatbelts on if they didn't want to wear them. They had sidearms on their hip. And coming from DC, my first reaction was, oh my God, guns are in the public. And it took me about 5 minutes to figure it out. Hey, these are my friends. I'm safe here. I am very safe here. Guns in possession of solid citizens make for a very polite society. So when I just now see, I was one of the first ones to sign up to be part of the 20,000, and I was very impressed. I look up the FBI database, and New Hampshire is always number 1. number one or number two with the lowest crimes on the FBI crime stat page if you go to look at it. And then I see here it's the most livable state for what, 5 years running. I'm impressed. So I would have been happy to move up there a long time ago, but the project I'm working on for gun freedom is I just couldn't run it from up there. And the Bill of Rights Foundation is addressing all kinds of government intrusions into our freedom world. And so I haven't moved up there yet. I'm an avid skier, and I look forward to the day that I can, but being the most livable state for 5 years running, maybe I'll try to move up there a little quicker. Thank you.